All right, welcome to my channel, Garage Built Strongman. Now, if you're new here, I'm an amateur strongman. If you're coming back because I haven't made a video in I don't even know how long. It's been a month or two. I really just wasn't focused on making any content or anything. So a quick recap of what's been going on this short little period of time since my last video. I've been training for provincials. I went into provincials. I did really well. I won 3 of the 5 events and took first place overall, which earns me my invite to nationals, which is what I'm training for now. We have an actual deadlift, and that's kind of what I'm working on today. Also, conversely, they've worked it out somehow that I actually earned a invite to the Arnold's in March, so I'm really excited about that. But anyway, so I'm prepping for nationals in Calgary in about a month's time. So again, one of the events is actual deadlift. And I got thinking about the deadlift and all that while I've been scurrying around and being on social media like so many of the people out there watching. And I got to laugh and I got to ask people, how many people how many people really give a shit that much right now about Thor pulling 510? And the only reason I ask this is because now, I'm not taking anything away from Thor. He is amazing. He is the premier deadlifter, bar none. Um, we'll go back to the whole thing with Thor and Eddie. Eddie was the first to hit 500, and then Thor does his 501. And I get it. I understand the complaints. People wanted to see it in competition, which all right, yeah, he did it in his garage. His dad weighed the weights and blah blah blah. We all know the arguments. So then he comes back, and 3 weeks ago, I guess it was, might have been about a month or no, I forget the date. I'm sure you guys know. That's why you're here. He pulls the 510, legit in comp, supposed to be the be all end all of the argument. However, that didn't happen. I'm still experimenting a little bit with foot placement and hand placement to see where I get my strongest pull from. The event is max reps for a measly 430 pounds. So it may end up being more of an endurance than strength thing. But anyway, so Thor makes his 505 pull, and immediately everybody jumps on the internet, anybody from wannabes to big mouths, and start talking about soft lockout. And then they start picking apart Eddie's lockout, say, these guys are probably power lifters, or they look at the powerlifting scene and they say, oh, wow, you know, the lockout was soft. Oh, he wore straps. Oh, he wore a suit. Oh, he needed a belt. All these things that they want to pick apart. And it really just, when you come from a different sport and apply your rules of your sport to the rules of somebody else's sport, it doesn't work. The judges were there, properly weighed plates. It is what it is. I don't get it. Now, as I've said, I'm not a huge fan of Thor. I don't know, something about him. I've just never really been a fan. I think most people that have been to my channel before have seen pictures of Eddie Hall on my wall. I find him far more entertaining. By no means am I a fanboy, because I know there's going to be somebody in the comments saying, oh, you don't like Thor because you're an Eddie fanboy. But I try to look at things realistically and in a fair light. And right off the hop, I mean, Eddie Hall, when he broke the 500 kilo deadlift, I believe the previous one was 460 something. I believe the number was 37 kilos he broke the record by, which is a massive, massive feat. Thor, I look at Thor as an anomaly. He's a mutant. He is a sideshow. He's just a freak. And typically Icelandic competitors are very strong. It's just, it's a good stock of being. You know what I'm saying? And then I look at Eddie Hall as more of like the everyday guy, and I'm not taking anything away from either one of them, okay, because even at Eddie Hall at 6'3", 400 plus pounds when he made that lift was anything but average. But I look at him as more of an average type guy versus just a massive, massive. I mean, they call him the mountain for a reason, right? So when Eddie made his 500 kilo lift, it was a big jump from, I believe it was 460 something. Somebody in the comments will quote and have it on lock. But it was a big, big jump. So here comes Thor, makes a 501, and people are shitting on him about it. And again, back to doing it in his own garage, but that's a different story. Uh, I mean, there's only two people in the world that have pulled 500 kilo conventional. Uh, and you want to pick apart that it was only by 1 kilo? Whatever, fine, fair enough. Just another argument, because if you look around, most of the time, any of the world records that are broken in strongman and various other sports aren't broken by massive amounts. They're broken by smaller amounts, small increments, 1 kilo, 2 kilo, half a kilo. So that doesn't fly with me either. It doesn't make sense to me. So let's just move on to the 505. So there goes Thor, pulls the 505, legitimate record in competition, plates weighed, da 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 da. Good on him. And now he's going for 510, I believe next weekend. Um, and it's like, are we a little saturated? I get it, but I mean, it's when the same guy's breaking the same record just repeatedly, it becomes a little lackluster. And again, I realize what I'm saying about pulling half a ton. I'm not knocking it. I just mean that there's so many other things that could be going on. Um, I watched an interview with Eddie Hall and Aussie Reviews just the other day. That was a great interview. You guys might get a couple chuckles. And he asked him about coming back to try and pull 510. And honestly, I have to agree with Eddie. He said the risk versus reward isn't there. He said the money isn't there. If somebody wanted to pay him $1 million, and don't get me wrong, I don't want to hear about him selling out or any of this bullshit here. The point is, Eddie did what he did. He won his world's strongest man. He walked away happy. He was good with what he had done, and he continued his career as a content creator, YouTube, social media, what have you, however you want to put that. And that's where he's happy, and he's making money, and that's what he wants to do. For him to come back and put his own life at risk to do this, because realistically, when Eddie pulled it, it was extremely hard on his body. Um, Again, he was way, way over his weight. His body was working overtime. If you've watched any of those videos, his blood pressure was just off the charts. He was blacking out. I believe he said for like a week after that he was still having funny feelings, like he was dizzy and stuff like that. Like he was still feeling the effects of the lift. So that's a monumental task that Eddie took on. And as far as Thor's concerned, I don't feel like the task is as monumental, because I think Thor probably has, I bet, given time, I bet Thor could hit a 525. I wouldn't be surprised if he could do it. Will he bother? Where's the top end of this? Do we want to continue to watch the same guy? Is it still impressive to you to watch him break it by 4 kilos? Now he's going to go for 5 more kilos after that. Do we want to watch? If you're going to do it, I would like to see it in spectacular fashion, a little along the lines of what Eddie did. Is that going to happen? No. I think with the deadlift, you're always going to see small increments like what Thor is doing. And honestly, I don't see a ceiling on this guy just yet. I think maybe in the 525 range would be that ceiling. You guys can comment down below. I'd love to hear your thoughts. I'm not trying to cause a stir, but it truly is an interesting question. Like, how how many deadlifts do we want to see in world record fashion? You'd like to see a record stand for a period of time, and suddenly somebody comes out of the wings and smashes something impressive. But I guess maybe we're a little biased. Maybe I'm a little biased. I just really want to see something wild. And I'm into strongman because I don't like gym lifts. I don't want to do, you know, six or eight sets of 10 or 12 or 15 on bench press because it bores the shit out of me. Versus doing, log presses and deadlifts and yoke carries and frame carries and what have you. What all these other lifts are. It's a far more entertaining sport than just watching the same thing over and over again. And I know in strongman, kind of technically, you are watching the same thing over and over again, but I digress. I think I'm screwing up my hip movement. I'm gonna have to watch this video back. All right, so let me just break this down to you real quick. I think Thor pulls 510. Think he pulls it. Not gonna say with ease. He's gonna work at it. He's got 95% chance of pulling it. I think if he's on point, no problem, he'll pull it. And then we'll start talks about 515 or whatever. But I honestly believe that we need to let it go for a little while. Like move on to something else. I mean, you're going to go into your next event. Any deadlift event, Thor's going to win it, more than likely. Um, Mitchell Hooper's talked about trying to pull 505 and 510 as well, but that won't be till next year. Maybe wait till there's a little more rivalry, somebody to compete against. You know, um, it's surprising that Mitchell Hooper's that close to pulling that kind of weight. Out of all people, he's not necessarily a big guy or anything, but he has been an impressive athlete. Uh, I just think I'm a little watered down at this point, watching him just repeat the record. And I know there's only been a couple of pulls, but I think I'd like to sit back and see something else happen, something else be in the conversation, someone else be in the conversation. But regardless, again, I'm not knocking Thor by any means. He is an absolute impressive athlete. He's got many more years in the sport, I believe, as long as he stays healthy. I think he's probably going to have a long career still moving forward. I see, barring a bunch of injuries, I see a good 5 more years in that guy. And I don't even remember how old he is. So, anyway, guys, I'm going to leave you with that. Leave your thoughts in the comments. I know I'm going to catch some shit for what I say, but that's okay. I'm just want to start a discussion here. And yes, it's probably a bit of clickbait, but it is what it is. I have to get up to 350 with bands and get this workout done because I am done talking. So, guys, thanks for stopping by. Don't roast me too hard.